All right, John, what do we got tonight?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. We're going to do a little taste test.
Yes. What's up, guys and gals? Welcome to episode 6 of the What Makes Us Human podcast, where today we're talking about and sampling ice cream.
Yep.
A little Ben and Jerry's and a little Cookout. Is Cookout all over the nation?
No, it's a North Carolina thing. Maybe a
Really?
little expanded, more southeast thing, but yeah.
Oh, I've got a Bible verse on my styrofoam cup that should have told me that's not in the Northeast. Okay.
All right. So yeah, John is going to try. I'm going to have some as well.
I'm scared.
Like it. John is going to try a watermelon milkshake.
All right. Now, there are some things in life that I don't like to put together. And then sometimes it turns out. But watermelon and then milk is just not something that I normally put together.
It's definitely, initially when someone told me about this, I was like, that's a terrible idea. And then I tried it, and it was amazing.
Because there's actually watermelon in this.
Yeah, there are chunks of watermelon in it. So I was actually going to say, rather than using the straw, I would maybe use your spoon so you get a nice piece of watermelon to go with, so you get kind of the full effect.
All right, I've already got ice cream on my spoon. Hold on.
All right.
And we promise we're going to keep the smacking and noises down because we know that drives some people out of their minds. All right, so watermelon. Jared is already on cloud nine with his nasty milkshake.
Fantastic.
All right. So I'm nervous about this. I'm just going to down the hatch.
What you think?
That's weird. It tastes like watermelon.
Tastes like watermelon with just a little bit of vanilla kind of going on.
It's actually not bad. Now I've bumped into a piece of fruit here. I've already got 2 spots on my pants. That's not bad.
I think it's quite good. I'm going to come back to mine.
I don't know about this one giant piece of watermelon. I love watermelon, but this is a whole new thing.
Well, to me, it's kind of perfect for summer, which they only offer it July and August. So you get like frozen chunks of watermelon with just a little bit of vanilla, It's good. It's good.
All right, now I'm going in for this big piece of watermelon.
All right.
All right, here we go.
If you have sensitive teeth.
I do.
Yeah.
It tastes like watermelon. Because it is watermelon.
Yeah, just chunks of watermelon and vanilla ice cream, essentially.
So, like, a word about flavoring. So, like, grape is a made-up flavor.
What we think of as grape.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There's another one, too.
Banana.
Is a made-up, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, juicy fruit, that's its own flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this is actually, I was expecting some weird attempt at watermelon, like they added some flavor, but they didn't. They just put
chunks of watermelon in it.
It's kind of a gross concept, but it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm going to stop the recording for just a minute. We're going to serve out the other options here.
We'll be right back.
All right, folks, we are all situated now with 3 small bowls of ice cream here.
All right, so we've got Ben and Jerry's. What is the peanut butter called? And we're going to get into the nitty gritty of what makes ice cream in a minute here.
It's just called peanut butter cup, and it definitely has really big pieces of peanut butter cup in it.
Like huge.
Yeah. Like bigger than the small Reese's.
Yeah. All right, I'm going in.
All right.
Yeah, that's really good. So I guess they don't sell that in England.
Is peanut butter not as much of a thing?
Yeah, I don't think they even have it.
They're very peanut buttery. There's peanut butter ice cream and peanut butter cups. So kind of the chocolate's kind of an afterthought almost.
Oh yeah, I don't get any chocolate hardly. Yep, I'm peanut butter.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared's right. The peanut butter cups are enormous. Like they're crazy enormous. And that's gotta we're gonna get into this a little bit, but that throws off the weight probably because in order for it to be ice cream, FDA definition, it has to be 4.5 pounds a gallon. So you start putting in huge chunks of candy in it or whatever, it's going to throw off your weight a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of wonder.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wonder if it might be a little better with like maybe some chocolate drizzled through it.
Yeah,
because it's peanut butter. Like it's almost all peanut butter flavor between the peanut butter ice cream and the.
Does it say chocolate in the title?
No, but it has peanut butter cups, and the peanut butter cups have chocolate.
Oh,
so
okay.
All right. Should have brought some water or something to.
Some milk. All
right. Which one do you want to try next?
Cookies or mint cookie? What?
Cherries. Mint chocolate cookie.
Mint chocolate cookie. I'm a big fan of mint. I don't know about this. Let's see. All right.
I like mint and chocolate together.
Ooh. Mint, I reckon. That's good. I like it.
There's a weird flavor to that mint.
Yeah.
Like I was expecting.
It's different.
Peppermint patty or Andes mint.
No.
And that's a weird kind of. It's a weird flavor.
I feel like I just brushed my teeth and yet I'm eating. I about said I'm eating toothpaste. And it almost tastes like you're eating toothpaste in a way.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a big fan of that.
I like toothpaste.
I usually like mint and chocolate together.
Yeah.
Especially in ice cream. But not that. That mint flavor is just weird.
I can handle it. It is different. I wonder what they did different. But it definitely did something different.
Yeah. Have you ever had the peppermint milkshake from Chick-fil-A Christmas time?
Yes.
Has all those little bits of peppermint candies in it?
Yes.
That is fantastic.
And I know people aren't going to agree with me on this, and that's perfectly fine. But I personally love around St. Patrick's Day, the McDonald's green.
Oh, Shamrock Shake.
Yeah, the Shamrock Shake. Yeah,
I can take or leave the Shamrock Shake. It's good, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get it. The Chick-fil-A peppermint one, I might actually go out of my way to get.
McDonald's needs a light on the top of the building that's lit when the ice cream machine is working. You know what I mean? And that way you just don't get in line at the drive-thru.
I thought you were going to say it's lit when they have the McRib or the
McRib
or the
don't try it yet till we get done talking about this.
Yeah, or the Shamrock Shake.
Yeah, I love the McRib, man. Oh, I don't know what's in there, but it's so good. All right, Jared, what's next?
The last one is called Topped. It is dirt cake.
Topped dirt cake.
It says it has vanilla pudding ice cream. That might be interesting.
All right, I get a little bit of that topping. The top stuff is just like loose chocolate. I don't know what it would be. It's like sand almost, but not sand. But
I mean, like if you crumble up an Oreo cookie, basically.
There it is. Yeah.
But also like a chocolate ganache is a harder top to it.
All right, this is basically Oreo in ice cream form. To me.
It's good.
Yeah.
The vanilla pudding ice cream is interesting. The texture,
yeah.
The texture's a little different.
You get a little bit of a hint of like when you're a real little kid after lunch at school when they bring out, you get pudding.
Yeah.
Just the tiniest hint of pudding.
Yeah, it's less, it's definitely not just vanilla ice cream. There's something a little different with the flavor and the texture.
All right. Which one of these was your favorite? With peanut butter cup, something. Peanut butter cup.
Peanut butter cup.
Dirt top
dirt cake.
And
mint chocolate cookie.
All right, which one was your favorite?
I'd probably have to go with the dirt cake. Just
really?
Because if the peanut butter cup was had a little more of a chocolate flavor mixed in there, kind of because with peanut butter cup, you think both peanut butter and chocolate. So if it had a little more of a chocolate flavor, it might be my favorite. But I think I go with dirt cake.
Mint, baby.
That mint flavor it's different. It's kind of weird. I'm not.
It's different.
I want to get back to my watermelon milkshake.
All right, now the big question. Come about ice cream. All things ice cream today.
Yep.
What's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Favorite flavor of ice cream? It goes by different names at different places, but it's definitely going to be like a chocolate ice cream with like brownie pieces and more chocolate. Like it's going to be chocolate.
Like the Moose Tracks or something?
I think Moose Tracks usually has caramel in it. I'm not a big caramel fan.
Me neither.
But yeah, I mean, it's usually brownie pieces, chocolate pieces, kind of chocolate, kind of like fudge sauce, chocolate ice cream. It's basically just chocolate. What about you?
It depends on the venue. I was thinking about this week. This is my subject matter, so I had plenty of time to think about it because I picked it out. And all right, if we go get ice cream somewhere, we get mint. So like when we go to Myrtle Beach once a year, we go to the store and buy all this ice cream and cram the freezer with it and eat ice cream each night. Almost every night the week we're at the beach, and we get something for the kids who are now adults.
That's not mint.
Right. And so usually we get two different things for Carrie and the kids to back and forth with. And then I've got this big tub of mint that I try to keep everybody away from.
Okay.
That's my favorite. So I like mint chocolate chip or just mint. Now, when I was a kid and we'd have like the summer social at church, or homecoming, and people brought ice cream, Cheerwine homemade ice cream.
It's good.
It's thebomb.com. Yeah. So if you don't know what Cheerwine is, folks, it is a southern.
It's a North Carolina.
No, it's only North Carolina?
Well,
pretty much.
You can find it now actually around the U.S. and like Cracker Barrel sells it all over the U.S. and places like that. But it's from Salisbury, North Carolina.
Okay.
And up until within the last decade, you could only get it in North Carolina.
So, Cheerwine soda used in the process of making homemade ice cream. I mean, that stuff is awesome. That's my favorite. And of course, homemade ice cream has a different texture because it's not flash frozen. You're at home, so you're not going to get that thing down to like 0 or negative 20 degrees. You know what I mean? To make it store-bought ice cream consistency. But that's part of the fun of it, too. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I was looking for the milkshake that I had at the beach this year. It was one of those completely ridiculous. Have you been to the place up in Union Grove that does the Mason's milkshake?
No,
the Mason jar ones.
I've heard about it.
I haven't been there.
It's like $15 for a milkshake, but it's enormous.
But I went to a similar place at the beach this year.
Yeah.
And
what is the name of that? Is it just Mason's?
Yeah, I think it's Mason's Ice Cream Shop. And I got this as a brownie milkshake.
Ugh. Oh, that's too much.
So it's a mason jar.
That's a lot, folks.
Filled with chocolate ice cream with brownie pieces in it. Kind of a chocolate shake more than ice cream with brownie pieces in it, and then like I don't know, 6-8 inches of Cool Whip on top with sprinkles and brownie. I mean, it's an absolutely ridiculous chocolate bomb, and it was amazing. And I didn't want anything else sweet, for 3 days after it.
I bet you ate the whole thing.
It was good,
man. I bet that was 1.5 pounds of food.
Probably so. Hey, you're at the beach.
That's right. Yeah. Wow. I mean, I got nauseous just looking at that. Yeah, if I went there, I don't know what I would do because I like simple.
I mean, they had I think at both places they had other things, but they had those like premium milkshakes or whatever.
So at work, sometimes they bring in They did it last week. It's like one of the hottest weeks of the year, and it's a nice gesture. But when you're working in an unair conditioned environment and you have to wear long pants, and I work up on the mezzanine where it's even a degree hotter up there.
Yeah.
You just don't want ice cream.
Oh yeah, I worked at Ice Cream Week two weeks ago, I think.
Well, this truck comes, and so last year what I did is I went outside and I gave them my name, and they said, "Okay, what do you want?" And they got like 1,000 toppings and all this, and people are piling all this stuff on there, and I'm just like, "Man, it is so hot." I said, "I'll tell you what, just give me 2 scoops of vanilla, and just drizzle a little cherry juice on it, and I'm good to go." And the lady rolled her eyes at me, and I'm like, "Hey, look, it's too hot. I don't need all this stuff." And so I just got 2 scoops of vanilla with a little cherry juice on top, and I didn't even finish it because that's just too hot. So
they're a little nicer at your work. Ours was like ice cream sandwiches and drumsticks and the M&M's cookie things. Yeah, it was.
That's funny.
Don't get me wrong; it was good, but yeah, it was not a ice cream truck where you can pick and
for free
toppings.
Oh, let me tell you that these bowls that we're eating out of, these normal styrofoam bowls, people had these filled.
Yeah,
with like 4 scoops of ice cream, and then a candy bar basically sticking out of it. Ugh. But so I'm not a sweets person. I'm a salty guy, but. My dad always thought that was so weird because he'd be like, "Hey, you want some ice cream?" And I'd be like, "I'd like some salt and vinegar chips," But I like ice cream. All right, so you ready to get into this?
Yeah.
All right. I did a little digging. As far back as I can go, Nero fiddled while Rome burned. Nero liked to send people out certain times of the year to fetch snow from the mountains so he could make icy, fruity treats. Yeah. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Kind of early on this, you get a lot of kind of iced drinks or kind of slushes more.
Things really change when you get into the 20th century and you get actual refrigeration. Big time.
Oh, absolutely.
So way further back or way closer to the present day than that is Marco Polo on his travels to China. And I think he traveled in China on the Silk Road from 1271 to 1295. So in the late 13th century, Marco Polo brings back. All right. So when I was a kid, I've always loved history with a purple passion. I'm just going to be honest, and I did not realize this until just now. Like just now. But when I was a child, I pictured Marco Polo literally riding on a horse. I guess in one fist he had a bunch of dollar bills because he'd found paper money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in the other hand, he had a bowl of literal ice cream, and he's bringing the ice cream back, But he brought back the recipe.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I read that word, it hit me that I've known about Marco Polo my entire life. I'm a super nerd. I don't know when I learned about him. I think my dad just made sure I knew about him very early on and thought it would interest me. But when I saw the word recipe, it just made me laugh literally out loud because I realized my whole life I have literally pictured him with a bowl of ice cream. Not the recipe. Yeah.
I thought the whole Marco Polo brought ice cream to Europe thing was a myth. Because it's kind of, Marco Polo brought everything to Europe kind of,
right.
After a while.
Yeah.
Maybe he did. I don't know.
I think that one might actually hold its own. I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Then we make a pretty large jump because without refrigeration, there ain't but so much you can pull off with this. You know what I mean?
I did talk about Marco Polo coming from the East, and before you get too far into modern stuff.
Yeah.
I was reading about kind of early.
I just got a piece of watermelon in my straw and it scared me. I'm not used to fruit and stuff. Okay, but it's all right.
I keep getting seeds.
Oh.
I was reading about kind of, I guess maybe call it early ancestors to ice cream, and several of them were in China as far back as the Tang Dynasty in China.
Yeah.
And there were some interesting flavors, interesting additives.
Still are.
Did you read about the ones from the Tang Dynasty in China?
No. I did read about the ones that are there now.
So, rice was a component, but you want to take a guess at what some of the additives were? So, absolutely.
Please don't say urine.
Far out as you can go.
Please don't say urine.
No.
Okay. What you got?
Dragon brains.
All right, wait. All right. I'm pulling the rope to stop the train. Dragons don't exist.
I know. But two of the things that are recorded in being some of these early versions of
Does that mean that this was
ice cream were
it was almost a spiritual, mythical thing to create ice cream? Since dragons don't even exist?
Were dragon brains and dragon eyeball powder.
Okay.
So no one really knows what this actually was, but that's how it's come down to us in history.
I don't think Ben and Jerry's would sell it. Do you?
Probably not.
That's disgusting. And now they have some really like Pit Viper ice cream, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we jumped to like 1777. In the New York Gazette, we have the first printed mention on paper of ice cream.
Okay.
So it's being sold in 1777.
All right.
I have no idea how. I don't know.
The ice trade was a big thing.
Yeah.
They would go get ice
covered in sawdust or something to keep it from melting.
Yeah, they'd build these big insulated ice houses where they could keep ice sometimes for years.
Wow.
And they'd either go to frozen lakes and saw it out and drag it to town, basically, drag it to the city. Or
yeah, heavy.
Yeah. Or go up in the mountains and cut it and bring it down. But the ice trade, particularly among the wealthy, which is why ice cream initially was only for the wealthy.
Yeah.
Ice was a big thing. It was a big market.
Huh. Because a gallon of water is like 8.1 pounds.
Yeah.
So, man, a block of ice is going to be...
it's big. It's bulky.
It's cold.
One of the interesting things I saw was that a big boom to the ice trade came when they developed a route that brought it from essentially New England to the Caribbean.
Wow.
And then from the Caribbean out to like kind of the rest of like the southern United States. So
Really?
like, wouldn't it have been easier and probably had less melting to just haul it down there? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's quicker. It was so quick it didn't matter. But
maybe they were using the postal service. Where you want to mail your neighbor a letter, it has to go 4 counties to Greensboro and then back. Yeah, and all your postman would have to do is put it in reverse 50 feet and stick it in the mailbox. Yeah. So, George Washington ate a ton of ice cream. One summer, evidently, he spent over $200 back then on ice cream.
I think I saw that someone neighbor to like $5,000.
Man, wow.
He spent on ice cream.
That's a lot of ice cream.
In our dollar amount.
Man. But due to manufacturing advances, it ends up going to the masses. And, of course, by the time you get into, not early, but especially once you get out of World War I, you have some real serious advances in refrigeration happening. This is just my great-grandfather, Sidney, he played a pretty large role in bringing refrigeration with GE to Greensboro, to companies in Greensboro.
Yeah. Post-World War I, the companies that had been producing other things for the war started really cranking out freezers.
Yeah.
So everybody, started getting home freezers.
Yeah.
Prior to that, ice cream was more of a destination. Even once it became cheap enough, ice cream was more of a destination dessert. There might be an ice cream place in a beach town or a mountain town, somewhere you'd go anyway.
Yep.
To get a special treat.
Yeah, and it still is in a way like my wife's family. We have never been, and I need to fix that, but she grew up her whole childhood when they would go to Myrtle Beach. We go to Cherry Grove. They would go to Myrtle.
Yeah.
and they would always go to Painter's Ice Cream.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably know where that's at. But
I don't, but I've only been to Myrtle once or twice. So.
Oh, okay. But they would always go to Painter's Ice Cream as a big destination in Horry County, Myrtle Beach, Horry County. Ooh, that's a big piece of watermelon.
That's a huge chunk of watermelon.
That was so gross, white. Ugh. Ooh, that's so. Ooh, yeah. I know it's good. It tastes good. And man, if you have sensitive teeth, frozen watermelon will fry your brain, buddy. Let me tell you right now. All right. So once we get refrigeration, the manufacturing world really takes a hold of this thing and does some crazy stuff with it. For instance, they have a tube that has the cream or the so ice cream is a colloid.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have an emulsifier that takes all these things that aren't usually together and it bonds them together. Like an egg yolk could be a great emulsifier.
Yep.
So when you get to manufacturing, instead of you putting your little ice cream cylinder for your homemade ice cream in your fridge, they have ammonia tubes that are right up against the tube that has the ice. So the ammonia never comes out of the tube. It never molests the ice cream, but it keeps it really, really cold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you get in the manufacturing world, it changes it extensively. And I skipped over something. So let's go back. 1846. Is that right? Yes. 1846, a lady named Nancy Johnson. She's just a normal lady. She wasn't famous or anything, but this kind of made her a little famous. Nancy Johnson creates a simple hand crank machine at her house. So she basically, what you go and buy today, you know, the wooden thing with the cylinder in it, folks, where you sat on your front porch and cranked, and then your sister or your brother would take a turn and crank, and your dad had the rock salt, and he'd keep pouring rock salt. She basically created that, and it's called the Johnson crank. I did not know that until this week. Did you know that?
I don't know the name of it, no.
Yeah, the Johnson crank. So do you want to talk a little bit about the rock salt and the purpose of that? I always thought that was so weird.
Sure. So to make sure I don't get it wrong, because it is weird enough that your brain will mix it up.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to explain it. Salt lowers the freezing temperature of water, correct?
Yeah, I'm always stopped. Yeah, I'm like, does it raise it? Or
it's just weird enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So what it does is it gets it colder than it would normally get.
Correct. Yeah. Ultimately, it gets in that application, it gets the ice colder than it would typically get. What it does on your driveway in the winter is it essentially it has to be much colder to freeze.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So you got to have that. You got to put you can't just take your cylinder and put your stuff in it. It will never work. You got to freeze that cylinder. And what's interesting,
and you got to keep it turning, otherwise you just end up with a block of ice.
Yep. You got to keep it turning. So the paddle does two things. The paddle takes the ice crystals off the side and kind of breaks them up, and the paddle also whips air into a little bit of air into the ice cream. Yeah. So ice cream can have up to 50% air in it, depending on who's you're buying.
Yeah, and air is your friend.
Yeah, it is.
Air is what gives you the texture you associate with ice cream.
Yeah.
And small ice crystals.
Very small.
Because if you don't turn it right, you get big ice crystals and it's just
sandy.
Yeah, or too hard. It's more like ice than ice cream.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember from an episode of Good Eats with Alton Brown was he talked about adding just a little bit of alcohol to it.
Okay.
Which you can do with like vanilla, but you can do with bourbon and other things. You don't add too much because if you do it, you'll lower the temperature too much and it'll just be impossible to ever freeze right. But you add just a little bit, and because it then takes it longer to freeze, you get those smaller ice crystals.
Oh, cool. All right. So it's a colloid, and basically you're taking egg yolk, milk, fat, and sugar. And then your air is your friend, and you got to deal with your ice crystals correctly or you get all screwed up. Now, if you've ever had homemade ice cream, you know it's a lot different than popping open a half gallon of Breyers. Homemade ice cream is more like a Wendy's what is that called at Wendy's? Not
A Frosty.
A Frosty, yeah.
It's closer to soft serve consistency.
Yeah. So ice cream that comes from the store has been flash frozen basically at a really, really, really low temp that you're not going to be able to do at your house. So I think you're getting more. Well, if you make homemade ice cream, you're obviously getting more of what George Washington ate at the White House.
Yeah. Now, if you want closer to store bought,
did they have the White House when George Washington was?
No.
Okay, that's all right.
If you want closer to store bought, with your homemade ice cream, then as soon as it's done churning, and I do mean as soon as it's done churning, put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
And let it harden up.
But see, we would sit around and be like, isn't this good? You know,
most people just as soon as it's done churning, they're eating it.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking that. It's delicious.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
But if you want closer to, then don't let it melt. You don't want to melt. Melting is not your friend. You lose that air.
Yeah.
So as soon as it's done churning, stash it in the freezer. A couple hours overnight, whatever, for your event the next day.
So here in the U.S., there's definition is not the right word, but in order for it to be ice cream sold in the U.S., it has to have 10% milk fat. So 10% milk fat. It has to have a minimum of 6% non-fat milk solids, and it must weigh 4.5 pounds per gallon. So there's a lot of math that's going on at the Ben & Jerry's plant when they start throwing Reese's cups in with their ice cream.
Sure, so they can still call it ice cream.
Because of the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a carton of Breyers, which I'm not knocking because I love. But you get a carton of Breyers and it says like frozen dessert or some frozen dairy dessert or something.
It doesn't meet
the official criteria to be called ice cream.
I was shocked to learn that.
Yep.
And that's the ice cream I grew up with my entire life. So every Saturday night, we would watch Wild America with Marty Stauffer. And my mom would go in the kitchen and she would you'd hear glasses clinking, and she would fill 3 glasses, because I was the only child, so it's me and my dad, my mom. She would fill 3 glasses with chocolate ice cream all the way to the top, and then she would pour some milk in there about halfway up and just take a spoon and start stirring. And she'd bring each of us our ice cream with milk in it, and we would just carefully stir until we had, and I mean, it was the best milkshake. It's just simple. Nothing added. I didn't even add Hershey's syrup to it.
Yeah.
So freaking good. I know a lot of people that would not like that. You know what I mean? Just milk over ice cream and stir it up.
Interesting. Yeah, to me, you talk about Breyers being what you grew up with. To me, Breyers was...
And that was Breyers.
Yeah, Breyers was the nice ice cream. It was the special occasion ice cream almost, because it had, the vanilla had the vanilla bean specks in it.
Yeah. You had the little black specks in it.
Regular ice cream, would have been, I don't know, probably whatever store brand there was or what have you. But
Bluebell is really good. I like Bluebell. What else is there? Blue Bunny? Is there a Blue Bunny?
I think there's a Blue Bunny. There's Friendlies now. Which has kind of made its way. I think it's been around a long time, but it's more recent to this area.
Pet ice cream.
Yep. That's
in the real big tub, like the giant tub. Like if you're going to feed the kids in the youth group, you get Pet because it's a humongous.
Yeah, I think. No, I started to say I think Pet made the little cups of ice cream we had in school with the little wooden.
Oh yeah, it's nasty.
A little wooden. Not even a spoon. It's a wooden
stick.
But
so no, is this what the first world's supposed to look like?
But that actually wasn't Pet. That was Deluxe out of Mooresville.
Oh, that's right. That's Deluxe.
That's what we had in school here. Was even like the ice cream bars and stuff that you could get in the cafeteria were Deluxe ice cream.
Yeah.
Out of, for folks who don't know, that's ice cream that's made somewhat locally here in Mooresville. Yeah.
So when it comes to your milk fat, the premium, so maybe Breyers, I don't know what premium is. I don't know if that's Ben & Jerry's, but your premium ice cream has 16% milk fat. Your lower grade has all the way down to 10% milk fat.
Okay.
So the little cups with the wooden spoon would probably be around 11 or 10% milk fat. You don't want to go above 16% because weird things start to happen after that, evidently. I don't know what they are. But
when it comes to milk fat, at some point, I would think you'd almost start to get like a frozen butter texture, like a weird texture.
Yeah. So that went the good window for ultra premium is 14 to 16%.
Okay.
Yeah, and evidently that's just what they figured out. People like the best, and it keeps them coming back for more.
Yeah, a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's sad, but ultimately the goal here is not the best ice cream. It's the best ice cream that makes you reach in your pocket and pull out $1. You know, I mean, that's the goal. Is to make money. You know.
Now, pasteurization was also very important in the history of ice cream.
Yeah, you want to talk about that some? I don't know a whole lot about that.
Well, so pasteurization became, I don't know if required, I think required, but at least the standard in the U.S. in the 1890s.
Okay. Louis Pasteur.
In England and parts of Europe, it wasn't until the 1940s that pasteurization was required for ice cream. Yeah. And prior to pasteurization, ice cream was a big, and dairy in general, but ice cream in particular was a big carrier of disease. I guess like it was a real problem because you could get a lot of different diseases from the poor quality milk or the milk that sat out that went into your ice cream.
Yeah, you'd end up with pathogens.
Yeah. And it was a real, while ice cream was a treat, it was also a treat that could make you sick until pasteurization was common.
So you're taking a chance.
Yep.
Yeah. So people say that about raw cookie dough. Is that?
It's the raw eggs basically.
Oh,
okay. Which you can get eggs that are pasteurized if that's what you want, but
they cost a lot more.
I'm not sure what the cost.
So what they do is they actually heat the egg up just enough to kill anything.
Yeah, still in the shell.
Because that's basically what it is, right?
I'm not sure how they do that. They don't cook the egg. I really don't know how you pasteurize eggs exactly.
Huh.
I have chickens. I don't have pasteurized eggs.
Eventually you'll have pasteurized chickens.
Mm.
Probably not.
No.
They're already cooked. They're walking around already fried. All right, now this is debatable.
Okay.
Like 6 different cities around the nation claim to be where the first sundae was made.
Oh, okay.
But the only one that evidently is documented on paper is Ithaca, New York in 1892.
Okay. They made some great shotguns there, too.
Yeah, that's right. A pastor by the last name of Scott and his friend Chester Platt, who Platt co-owned a pharmacy there in Ithaca. They were hanging out one Sunday after church, and Platt covered his entire ice cream dish with cherries and cherry syrup.
Okay.
Like I like, just basically doing what I order at the workplace there. And he liked it so much, he thought we should start selling this. And then it made it and it was documented, made it into the paper, I guess. It must have been a slow news cycle. So this is back when, I guess religion or spirituality played a role in Americans' lives. And they didn't want to refer to something gluttonous on Sunday with the same spelling as the word Sunday.
Okay.
It's a little weird. I mean, I don't think this is some ultra spiritual thing that they're doing here. But he changed the spelling to Sundae. Okay. So it wasn't so it wasn't the Lord's Day in his mind, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. But Ithaca, New York is the only place where they actually have that documented, and there is like a historical marker at this spot where this happened now.
Okay. So. Yeah, the 1890s were a big kind of decade for ice cream developments. You had the sundae, you had the banana split.
Oh, banana split's 1890s.
You had
I think that's so nasty.
Well,
I cannot do bananas in ice cream.
What's the one you light on fire?
What?
Oh no.
A dessert you light on fire?
I can't believe I'm having to look this up. Ice cream you light on fire, no less.
Has it got bourbon or something or some alcohol?
Yeah, it has baked Alaska.
Oh, okay.
Well, I couldn't think of that. That came in the 1890s.
Okay.
There was several others, but yeah, this is a decade for ice cream developments.
Interesting. So Graders, we got to talk about this real quick. In Cincinnati, Ohio, shout out to my buddy Dave, who's from there pretty much. I think he was from Cleveland. But Cincinnati, Ohio has this place called Graders. And Graders is the only place left that uses the French pot method to make ice cream.
Okay.
So the French pot method, as far as now, if I get this wrong, somebody email us and tell me I'm wrong and explain it different. But I'm pretty sure I'm right. So the French pot method is the reverse of what we do on the front porch with the Johnson
Crank. Okay.
The pot spins. The pot spins and the blade is still.
Okay.
And it makes a dense, heavy, thick ice cream. And they still pay. I bet Grader's ice cream costs a fortune because they still pay a guy to make ice cream 2 pounds at a time. And they have you see all these men in the back, and this pot is just spinning away, and the blade is being still. And as it's spinning, he's scooping it out as it passes the blade. And I mean, it looks like caulk. But people say it is the best. And they also say it's the most accurate to what people in the founding times of our country would have said was actual ice cream.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because
it's called the French pot method.
My homemade ice cream maker, which isn't a hand crank, it's an electric one.
Okay. It does that?
But yeah, the actual container spins.
Okay.
Which must mean the blade is being still.
Yeah. Huh. If you don't sell the box, do you?
Doubt it.
Okay, I was gonna say, man, I wonder if it references the French pot method on the box.
Yeah, it's a pretty cheap, basic,
Now, does your ice cream come out real heavy and thick?
Not really. I mean, it's the consistency of homemade ice cream.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
okay,
I'm not sure.
You have to watch on YouTube these guys.
Yeah. Okay.
It is really almost looks sticky.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's called the French pot method. All right, so. There are all sorts of novelty, I guess you could call them. I thought we would just mention a couple. Ice creams.
Okay.
So you got the drumstick.
Yeah.
You got the ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
You got the Wendy's Frosty.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, that's not ice cream, but boy, is it good.
Yeah, I remember a rumor as a kid that what gave Wendy's Frosty its texture, because it's not a milkshake. It's not even soft serve. It's different than all of that.
Yeah.
There was a rumor I remember as a kid, which is probably completely false, but I've never bothered to look it up, that what gave Wendy's Frosty its distinctive texture was lard.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. That's probably not true, but...
Huh. That'd be gross.
It's delicious, whatever it is.
Yeah, but lard is good. I mean, fat's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other novelties... There's gelato, but gelato, from what I can tell, is the Italian word for basically ice cream. But in America, it means something a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, it's made a little differently. You have different styles. You have New York ice cream, Philadelphia ice cream. Has to do with whether or not it has eggs in it, whether or not it's heated.
Right.
All kinds of different
Remember the push-up?
Variations. Orange push pop, yeah.
Yeah.
Came with a Flintstones cone or like a paper, looked like a toilet paper tube.
Yeah.
But with like Flintstones characters on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the ice cream bar, which is, ice cream encased in a little bit of chocolate, like a light layer of chocolate that's hardened.
That's good.
You've got another version of that where the chocolate has nuts in it.
Ice cream bar, hard on the sensitive teeth, though.
Yeah. So.
Yes. Klondike. Grew up eating Klondike.
Which is kind of similar to an ice cream bar, but I think the chocolate's a little thicker.
Yeah, and now they have a cherry. The bomb. Yes, very, very good. Love a Klondike bar. What would you do for a Klondike bar?
Yep.
Any other novelties? I'm sure there are.
I mean, yeah, you get into the kind of not really ice cream, like a push pop or like a fudge sickle.
Frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
TCBY, do you remember those? You too old, too young for that?
I remember TCBY stores. I never went to one, but I remember.
So frozen yogurt, all they do is they just introduce a little of the culture yogurt to the ice cream. You can't take yogurt and freeze it and make frozen yogurt.
Yeah. TCBY was big in the 90s, and then...
Did you like that?
I never went to TCBY when I was a kid. It was closed by the time...
Oh, okay.
I mean, there was one here in town, but probably by the time I was 10, it was gone. And then shortly after I graduated high school, I feel like frozen yogurt really made a comeback with
Sweet Frogs?
Sweet Frogs opening up everywhere, and then various knockoffs of Sweet Frog that kind of popped up everywhere, which were, I don't know if TCBY was like this, but it was mostly frozen yogurt with a lot of toppings.
Right, yeah.
So
they're like, it's only this a cup, but then once you add all your toppings, it's like $90.
Yeah. And people kind of were like, oh, yeah, let's get your frozen yogurt because it's healthy, was kind of their argument. And they're adding, every kind of candy and sweet thing under the sun to it. I'm like, that's not healthy. I'd rather just have ice cream.
Did you ever watch Seinfeld?
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever watched all of it.
There is a great Seinfeld episode about the frozen yogurt that's fat-free but doesn't taste like it.
No.
And then they find out it does have... Everybody's like, man, my pants are getting tight. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. And it actually affects a local election in New York. So tune into that. You got to love Jerry Seinfeld. Well, I mentioned graters. I mentioned the Johnson... Okay, the crank. I can never remember the word crank. The Johnson crank. That it's a colloid emulsifiers holding it all together. George Washington, Nero. I think we got it all in.
The only other thing that we could touch on would be the ice cream cone.
Oh, yes! The fair.
That is another thing from the World's Fair, the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair.
St. Louis, yeah.
Very
good.
That is one that I kind of like a lot of things at World's Fairs. Ice cream cones existed before that, and waffle cones existed before that. But for some strange reason, the one vendor selling ice cream and waffle cones was what everybody wanted. So everybody else switched to waffle cones, and then ice cream cones kind of took off. Yeah.
So the story goes for that one that there's an ice cream vendor next to a waffle maker, and it was very hot that day, and the waffle maker wasn't really selling many waffles, and the ice cream vendor ran out of dishes to hand out his ice cream. So then he was down, and the waffle guy was already down because it was too hot for waffles. So he said, hey, why don't I just fold this into a cone shape that'll hold your ice cream, and we both win. And ta-da! So dude, if you actually made a warm waffle, if you made a waffle and set it aside for a few minutes till it was warm, and folded that sucker up into a cone and then loaded it with ice cream. Good. You know how good that would be?
I'm betting you've never been to a place where they make your waffle cone as you're waiting.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. In Silva, where my dad is, there's an ice cream parlor.
Really?
If you order a waffle cone, they make the waffle cone and then put whatever ice cream you pick in it. So the waffle cone is still warm when I hand it to you, and it is fantastic.
Awesome. Wow. Now, do you do I think it's starting to die off or already has died, the whole bacon, salty, sweet thing?
I don't want bacon in ice cream.
Remember the bacon sundae at Burger King? I don't even think that took off.
Five Guys has a bacon milkshake.
Five Guys is expensive.
I had
lunch there recently.
Yeah.
I've gone to Logan's.
You get a lot of food, but yeah,
it's expensive.
It's expensive.
It's getting to where I don't want to pay $20 for a burger. Are you crazy?
No.
Yeah.
You get more fries than you possibly know what to do with. So you get a ton of food.
Right. Well, I can go some crinkle cut fries at Food Lion for $4. You know what I mean? I don't have to. Yeah. But
yeah, it's I don't have any desire to have bacon anywhere near my ice cream. That's not something that I like. Both products, but I don't want them together. Maybe like the watermelon milkshake, I would find I was wrong if I tried it.
Maybe. What do you do? Do you do the Wendy's fry in the Frosty?
I don't.
What?
I don't.
You're kidding.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so good. Oh, my gosh.
I like both of those items, but I do not want to dip one in the other.
The quintessential, like, if food could actually have pornography, it would be the Chick-fil-A waffle fry into a Wendy's Frosty. That's triple X right there. So all day long. Yeah.
I think on that note,
I think on that note, I'd put a quarter in a machine just to watch the Wendy's Frosty get dipped by the waffle fry. It's so good. That means I've done that. That's what that means. But that's ice cream.
absolutely.
You got anything else?
I think I'm good.
We went out with a bang on that one.
Yeah.
Well, folks, I hope you like this. Rate, like, and subscribe.
You can find us on social media at WMUHPodcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. You can email us WMUHpodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what is your favorite kind of ice cream, and maybe what is the worst kind of ice cream you've ever had.
Yeah.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week.
Later.